Learning to draw is really a matter of learning to see correctly, and that means a good deal more than merely looking with the eye. The sort of seeing I mean is an observation that utilizes as many of the five senses as can reach through the eye at one time. Kimon Nicolaides. The natural way to draw. Line and shape. A point has no dimension or scale. When made visible as a dot, the point establishes a position in space. As the dot moves across a surface, it traces the path of a line, the quintessential element of drawing. We rely principally on the line to portray the edges and contours of objects we see in visual space. In delineating these boundaries, the line naturally begins to determine shape, the pictorial element that establishes the figures in our visual field and organizes the composition of a drawing. Conceptually, a line is a one-dimensional element having a continuous extent of length but no breadth or thickness. Such a line does not actually exist in the physical world of matter. Whatever we regard as a line is in fact a thin, solid volume, such as a strand of wire, or a very narrow depression, such as a crease, or a discontinuity in color or tonal value, such as where an object meets its shadow. Yet our vision perceives all of these as lines. Just as lines are critical to the way we perceive our world, they are essential in representing our perceptions in a drawing. In drawing, we pull or drag the point of a tool across a receptive surface to produce a line. As a graphic element, the line is a one-dimensional trace on a two-dimensional surface. Yet, it is the most natural and efficient means we have to circumscribe and describe the three-dimensional form of a subject. We construct these lines as we do in sight in order to recreate a sense of the form's existence in space. And as viewers, we readily associate the drawn lines with the physical boundaries of a form and the edges of parts within it. In succeeding chapters, we will explore the use of the line in conveying light and shade, texture, and the internal structure of form. For now, we are concerned with the role of the line in delineating edges and contours, the most common form of pictorial representation. Contours dominate our perception of the visual world. The mind infers the existence of contours from the patterns of light and dark the eyes receive. Our visual system seeks out and creates a cognitive line along the points where two fields of contrasting light or color meet. Some of these edges are clear, others are lost in the background as they change color or tonal value. Still, in its need to identify objects, the mind is able to fabricate a continuous line along each edge. In the seeing process, the mind enhances these edges and sees them as contours. The most noticeable contours are those that separate one thing from another. These contours give rise to the images of objects we see in visual space. They circumscribe an object and define the outer boundary between the figure and its background. In limiting and defining the edges of things, contours also describe their shape. But contours do more than describe the outline of a flat, two-dimensional silhouette. Some contours travel inward at folds or breaks in a plane. Others are formed by overlapping or projecting paths. Still other contours describe the shapes of spaces and shadows within the form. In both seeing and drawing, we are able to follow these contours as they eloquently describe the three-dimensional nature of forms in space. Contour drawing is one approach to drawing from observation. Its primary purpose is to develop visual acuity and sensitivity to qualities of surface and form. The process of contour drawing suppresses the symbolic abstraction we normally use to represent things. Instead, it compels us to pay close attention, look carefully, and to experience a subject with both our visual and tactile senses. Our goal in contour drawing is to arrive at an accurate correspondence between the eye as it follows the edges of a form and the hand as it draws the lines that represent those edges. As the eye slowly traces the contours of a subject, the hand moves the drawing instrument at the same slow and deliberate pace and responds to every indentation and undulation of form. This is a meticulous and methodical process that involves working from detail to detail, part to part, and form to form.
The process is as much tactile as visual. Imagine the pencil or pen is in actual contact with the subject as you draw. Do not retrace over lines or erase them. Most importantly, draw slowly and deliberately. Avoid the temptation to move the hand faster than the eye can see. Move in pace with the eye and examine the shape of each contour you see in the subject without considering or worrying about its identity. Contour drawing is best done with either a soft, well-sharpened pencil or a fine-tipped pen that is capable of producing a single incisive line. This fosters a feeling of precision that corresponds to the acuity of vision contour drawing promotes.
Blind contour drawing involves the drawing of contours while looking only at the subject, not the surface upon which we are drawing or the evolving image. Turn your body away from the paper and concentrate all of your attention on the subject. Your eyes should remain on the subject as the hand attempts to record on paper what you see. Focus the eye on a clearly defined point along a contour of the subject. Place the tip of the pen or pencil on the paper and imagine it is actually touching the subject at that point. Slowly and painstakingly follow the contour with your eyes, observing every minute shift or bend in the contour. As your eyes move, also move your pen or pencil on the paper at the same deliberate pace, recording each variation in contour that you see. Continue to draw each edge you see, bit by bit, at a slow, even pace. You may have to stop periodically as you continue to scan the subject, but avoid making these stopping points too conspicuous. Strive to record each contour at the very instant you see each point along the contour. Allow the eye, mind, and hand to respond simultaneously to each and every critically perceived event. In this mode of drawing, distorted and exaggerated proportions often result. The final drawing is not intended to look like the object but rather to document and express your careful perception of its lines, shapes, and volumes.
In modified contour drawing, we begin as in blind contour drawing. But in order to check relationships of size, length, and angle, we allow ourselves to glance at the emerging drawing at certain intervals. Begin as in blind contour drawing. Select any convenient point along a contour of the subject. Place the tip of the pen or pencil on the sheet of paper and imagine it is in contact with the same point on the subject. Check the relationship of the contour to an imaginary vertical or horizontal line. As your eyes follow the contour in space, carefully draw the contour line at the same slow and deliberate pace. Work from contour to contour, along, across, or around the edges and surfaces of a form. Respond to each and every surface modulation with equivalent hand movements. At certain points, breaks in planes or folds across contours, a contour line may disappear around a bend or be interrupted by another contour. At these junctures, look at the drawing and realign your pen or pencil with the previously stated edge to maintain a reasonable degree of accuracy and proportion. With only a glance for realignment, continue to draw, keeping your eyes on the subject. The more we focus on what we see, the more we will become aware of the details of a form, the thickness of a material, how it turns or bends around a corner, and the manner in which it meets other materials. When confronted with a myriad of details, we must judge the relative significance of each detail and draw only those contours that are absolutely essential to the comprehension and representation of the form. Strive for economy of line work.
Do not worry about the proportions of the whole. With experience and practice, we eventually develop the ability to scan each contour of a subject, hold an image of that line in the mind's eye, visualize it on the drawing surface, and then draw over the projected trace. While a true contour drawing uses a single line weight, varying the width of a line while drawing enables one to be more expressive. Thickening a line can provide emphasis, create a sense of depth, or imply a shadow. The characteristics of the line used to define a contour can communicate the nature of the form, its materiality, surface texture, and visual weight.